Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Private Club Radio Show podcast, the industry source for news, trends, updates, and conversations, all in the world of private golf and country clubs. Whether you're a seasoned expert or just getting started out in the industry, just trying to learn with a little peek behind the curtain, welcome aboard. I'm your host, Denny Corby. Thank you all for being here. This is the show where we go over all the topics related to private golf and country clubs. In this episode, we are going to learn about a type of designation, a type of degree, so to speak, you can get in the club space called a CCM, a Certified Club Manager. It's like a bachelor's degree almost of club management. It takes a couple years to do. There's a lot of different educational components and so many different layers to it. We're going to talk to club professionals who just got their CCMs, and they're going to talk about the process, what it was like, the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads. And they did something really cool. And when they went to one of the BMIs, they realized a group of them were from the same area, and they started studying together and developing a really cool group that all went through it together. They talk about what that was like in forming a group and how important that can be. And to maybe if you're going through the process now or starting to go through the process, this might be something fun to try to do, because it helps along the way. When you get different people together, different perspectives, it helps everybody. So, and that's what this is all about. It's about learning, educating different points of view, different perspectives. And speaking of different point of views, different perspectives, we have a couple show partners here, and they might not be something you need right now, but always keep them in mind. If you reach out to any of our show partners, let them know you heard about them through Private Club Radio, or that's because that's the reason why you're reaching out, and they will hook it up for you. We have our friends, Kenneth, member vetting, the traditional application process. When people join your club, it tells you very little about their behavior and their character. That is until now. We have our friends Kenneth, membervetting.com. They've created an innovative, confidential, and comprehensive applicant information gathering process that provides an unrivaled depth of information that allows you as the club to make a fully informed, allows you to make a fully educated membership decision about who you're bringing into the club. If you want to learn a little bit more, head on over to membervetting.com. Set up a call with Paul Dank. Let him know you're coming through because of Private Club Radio. And if you're interested in learning more and you'd like a free book from our friend Paul Dank and the gang over at Member Vetting, Kenneth, send me an email, hello@privateclubradio.com, subject book, and we will get you a free book, because we like leaders who read. Leaders are readers, but not all readers are leaders. We have our friends Golf Life Navigators. They have the only resource out there that's available for golf enthusiasts to help them discover, experience, and ultimately secure their ideal club membership and their golf community home. It's Zillow meets eHarmony. You only get matched up with the clubs that meet your criteria that you put in. It's marketing without marketing. It's advertising without advertising. If you'd like to learn more, head on over to golflifenavigators.com, fill out the contact form, and one of the people will reach out. You guys will see if you're a good fit. We have Concert Golf Partners, boutique owner-operators, private golf and country clubs nationwide. If you or your club is looking for some recapitalization, head over to concertgolfpartners.com. Check them out, see if you guys are a good fit, as well as myself. If you guys are looking for one of the most fun member event nights you can have, we have the Denny Corby Experience. It's magic, mind reading, and comedy. There's excitement, there's mystery. Also, there's magic, ton of crowd work, lots of audience interaction. It's a full evening immersive experience from the time people show up till the time they leave. And I have a TV appearance coming up on September, coming up on August 3rd and 4th on the Mike Huckabee Show over on Fox. Gets over 2 million views. So if you would like to look at some fall or 2025 dates, fall, winter 2025 dates, head on over to dennycorby.com. It's a really good time. But Private Club Radio listeners, let's welcome to the show recently appointed CCMs. We have Stephanie Peters, General Manager of Orange Lawn Tennis Club, James Creamer, Clubhouse Director of Bayhead Yacht Club, and Corey Melroy, Assistant AGM at Spring Lake Golf Club. Welcome to the show.
I'm Corey Melroy. I'm the Assistant General Manager at Spring Lake Golf Club. Just recently got the Assistant General Manager role here. I've been here for about 3.5 years. And yeah, just passed my CCM back in May with Steph and James, and two other New Jersey people as well.
I'm Stephanie Peters. I'm the general manager over at Orange Lawn Tennis Club in beautiful South Orange, New Jersey. I've been here for about 7 years in my general manager role. This is my 4th season, and recently earned my CCM with the pleasure of studying with Corey and James, and we killed it, if we're being honest.
Confidence. I love it.
And I'm James Kramer. I'm the clubhouse director at Bayhead Yacht Club. I've been here about 9 years. I actually worked here when I was a kid back in the day, many, many moons ago. And I also just received my CCM exam thanks to the help that our study group provided me with, because otherwise I wouldn't have made it.
I love that. That's so good. So let's get into it. If you were to describe what your role is and what the CCM is, and what that means to a total layman. So you're meeting someone, you're on an elevator going up in New York City to the top floor. You have, 2 minutes. How do you explain CCM?
Ooh, 2 minutes. That's kind of quick.
Limitations, force, creativity.
Yeah. So CCM is it's a designation that a lot of club managers go for. It's very similar to a CPA. So we study rigorously for multiple years. We have about 4 separate classes that are spread throughout the nation. And we have to attend those classes. And then we also have to get a required amount of credit hours. So basically 1 credit is 1 hour. And then also be able to attend World Conference, and then also, what am I missing? There's a whole bunch of things. And also have 6 years of membership just for the process itself to be able to be eligible to sit for the CCM. And then once you sit for the CCM, that's when, or before that, when you study, that's really when everything kind of takes off and kind of goes from there.
Yeah, I've explained it to my friends and family who are not club people that I didn't go to school for hospitality, that this is effectively my bachelor's degree in club management, and specifically, that area of study. And then they're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I would definitely add to, what Corey and James both said, that the CCM, I think, really helps to even the playing field as a female in the industry, that, hey, like, I know my stuff just as much as you guys do. And also it really, for me personally, has given me a platform to really then start advocating for myself in terms of what are the next steps professionally for me. And I know with Corey's recent promotion and what's in store for James in the future, I think it does really put you on the map in order to be properly, I think, showcased, for a bigger job or a job that might be better suited for what your interests and professional needs would then be.
Yeah, just to kind of bounce on that a little bit, the CCM again is it's that designation. The people almost look for it, but then, like Denny, you kind of mentioned before, there's a lot of places that don't know about it. I've worked in clubs that don't even know about the CCM process or CMA, but it kind of takes upon us to kind of educate those people and get the word out there. I mean, CMA is 7,000 national members, and there's only about 1,500 CCMs.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that tiny. Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
No, I knew it was like a number. I guess it's when you put it in that way. Oh man, that is so cool. How now is it yearly? Like, is this an ongoing process? So can anybody just take the test at any time? How does it normally work?
Yeah, so I mean, it's Corey touched on it. You do need to be a member for 6 years. There are extenuating circumstances. If you've been a student chapter member or other things, they'll give you credit for that. But so it's, it took me, I started my process in 2019. So it's taken me 5 years to finish the process. I know people that's taken them 6, 7 years to complete the process. And then once you attain your CCM, you have to maintain it by achieving education credits at the state and national level by going to, your your state chapter run education sessions, or going to national education sessions such as World Conference, or they still have other BMIs like BMI International, BMI Food and Wine, and that all goes towards your credit base that you have to maintain over a course of 5 years.
Yeah, I really do love that it's designed to keep you current, to keep you engaged, to keep you within like the community of your other, club managers and colleagues, and just to keep you sharp. They want the CCMs to be at the top of our profession, and the ones really, blazing a trail for now, like the next round, of people to follow.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing too. Is like we had such a tight knit group because a lot of us were at these BMIs together, the Business Management Institutes, and we formed this relationship. And we want the next generation below us or the next people below us to do that as well. And like James has two people in the process. I'm about to have a person in the process. So it's like getting them connected. So eventually that they feel comfortable and then they start forming those relationships and eventually get their CCMs and kind of go from there.
Now you guys formed your group from being at the being at the BMIs and
BMIs.
realized. Now, were you all friendly prior to that, or was this kind of more what brought you all together that little bit more? Going, oh, you're going through it too. Oh, and we're all within a little bit of like each other. Let's start hanging out more. How did that all come about?
Yeah.
Or am I just hoping it's more of like a movie scene than like not?
I'll start off. I'm the curveball of the bunch because I was out in Colorado for 5.5 years, and I kind of left New Jersey. I've been in New Jersey my whole life. Took a little hiatus and kind of went out there. So I came back and I knew some people, but I didn't know a lot of people. And I met James through a couple meetings and Steph through a couple meetings, but the relationships weren't as close as they are now because of the BMIs. The BMIs, we got time. I mean, it was a week-long course, and we got time to sit down, have dinner, uh, just enjoy ourselves, and then also work in groups. And then at the end of it, we were just like, "Hey, we're all completed with this BMIs. We all have 6 years. We all have the credits. Let's get this group going, and let's start studying and see where we're at." And this is our kind of timeline.
I mean,
Yeah, I think. Go ahead,
oh, I'm
Steph.
sorry. No, no, James, you first. I'll finish up.
Nope. Ladies first, please.
And so for me, it was really the opposite. I signed up kind of on a whim to go to this BMI course out in Michigan at Michigan State. And I walk into the room and I want to talk to no one and sit in the corner in the back. So I found a corner spot for sure. It wasn't as far in the back as I wanted it to
Right
be.
behind me.
Yeah. But then one by one, then as everyone's coming in, I see this guy who I think I might know, and maybe his name is Corey or something like that. Here's James, who is probably the only person I did know on the other side, giving me a little wave. And there ended up being, I think, 7 of us from New Jersey there, kind of
Yep.
by happenstance, or at least for me it was. And that was really kind of the starting point of like, okay, maybe this industry can also provide me not only, with my own professional goals, but the ability to have these great relationships, with my colleagues that have now become really tremendous friendships for me. And it all started, who would have thought, at random BMI at Michigan State.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I started my process in 2019, signing up for a BMI at the encouragement of my GM. And I went, I didn't know anybody that was there. And all of a sudden, I recognized somebody from Jersey who it was his last BMI. And he told me, when you go to these BMIs, talk to people, try to get connected with them because you're going to find people that are on the same timeline as you. Um, and that's going to help you go forward. You can reach out to them for ideas or just guidance or anything. And then COVID happened, so that kind of paused everything. And then yeah, Michigan State, there was 7 of us, and it's like, oh wait, you have 2 left, you have 2 left, you have two. Okay, let's try to get this together, and let's say 2024 is the time to knock it out.
So then, Denny, flash forward a few BMIs, and the 3 of us, plus some friends, have one more left to do. So let's, bang it out. Let's go to Arizona, but let's kick it up a notch and rent like the real world home of Airbnb rentals, for us to really, enjoy not only the education and the training, but kind of to celebrate this moment of like, okay, like we have, this is the 4th one, it's done, and that I think really lends itself to then strategize like, okay, like let's stay in this together, as we now prepare for this like killer exam. Because, and Corey, if you shared this already, I apologize. Most people take a whole week-long intensive review course,
Mhm.
to go over everything that may be on the test. We went to the School of Melroy's Zoom classes online, right, where Corey, and the group, contributed and really lent itself for us getting it in, and fitting it into our everyday lives and schedule to properly prepare. So,
Yeah.
James joked before, but there is no way I would have been prepared for this test on my own without the support of my colleagues, for sure.
Yeah, none of us definitely agree with that 100%. I mean, so yeah, we went to BMI Sports and Rec, and myself, Steph, James, and then one other who it was their last BMIs, and we're like, all right, let's do something about this. And instead of like that week-long course that Steph mentioned, we took 5 months to study. And it was, I mean, it was almost, it was like, let's read the book. let's then, after we finish the book, let's get into all the chapters and start reviewing the chapters. And then once it got to closer, we were like, okay, we're Zooming pretty much every day, and let's study. And then we ended up all sitting at the same testing center together, all 5 of us from New Jersey. Same testing center. We met for breakfast. I mean, we all got out of there. We were like, man, we just bombed that test. And then, of course,
I beg to differ. Steph was fairly confident earlier. I'm going to call a flag on that.
If you would have seen me after the test, you probably would have hugged me.
I walked out of the room and like, Steph, let's go.
Yeah.
So there's what you have to get at least a 75. There's how many sections you have to get at least like a 75% on all of them. And if you get 74 on one, you're like done for the day. Like everything is just done.
So you have to get over 50% in each section, and there's 10 sections. And they're not all evenly sized. There's some that are 30 questions, some that are 60. So you have to get over a 50% in every section, and then an overall of 70. So, coming out of that test, I was like, all right, I did good in one section, but I don't know if I did good enough to drag that one section that I think I bombed up.
Yeah.
And so there were some stiff drinks following the test.
All right. So starting with Corey, what was the hardest section for you? And then what was the easiest? And now this is all relative to each person because you all come from different backgrounds and different positions. So it's different things might be easier for you than others. So for you personally, when it came to like the test, what was the most difficult part for you, and what part did you like breeze through?
See, I'll give you some stats because we got our grades and everything. So I'll break it down a little bit. My worst section.
Pouring your report card, Corey.
Yeah,
come on.
Oh yeah, pulling up my report card.
Turning into a snooze fest. No, I'm kidding.
No, so my worst section was external and governmental influences. That was a great chapter. There are only 30. Go ahead.
Was that now you got the worst in it, but was that what you thought was the hardest?
Oh no, not at all. I thought finance was going to be the hardest. Finance and accounting. We all did going into the test, and like we studied our tail off on finance and accounting, and to be honest, I think we all breezed through finance and accounting pretty easily. And yeah, it was the one-off sections. There were a couple one-off sections like external and governmental influences, and also I'm trying to think like communications were like the two like sections that were like on the back burner. They were like, let's just keep them over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, oh yeah. So I bombed that section pretty good.
And then what part did you kill it?
Facilities and finance. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Steph?
Yeah, I can't even believe I'm going to say this too, but I did great on marketing and finance. I mean, when you talk about staying a novena before the accounting section, like let's go. And then similar to Corey, the external governance was the most challenging for me.
Yeah.
But that is probably because, again, we kind of breezed over the chapter. Okay, this is easy. And question number 1, I'll never forget it. Define like the characteristics of a tort law. And my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, oh my God, this was one.
No. Are these? Is it like A, B, C, D? Is it true, false? Is it?
Yeah,
like
it's all multiple choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
400 questions of multiple choice. And each
then-
section is like different. So like leadership is 60 questions, and then everything else is 40 questions, and then there's a couple like 30 question sections.
Oh, and then does it change every single time? So you have like no idea what you're running
Everyone's
into?
test was different. Yep. Everyone's test was different.
Man, oh man. James?
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually did best in facilities as well.
Yes.
And that section coming out of the test, I felt good on that. And then membership marketing, I did well in. And funny enough, the one section I was like going into the test, I'll nail this. I got no problem. Sports and rec, and I passed it, but I did horrible. I don't know why.
You dropped the ball?
Oh, big time. Yeah, sports analogies left and right. Took my eye off the ball.
You felt
man.
deflated after. It was.
Yeah, exactly.
This is too early for this. My coffee is not even hit.
Yeah.
I haven't even had coffee yet.
So that's crazy. So there's people who just go at this solo.
I don't know how people do it. Like maybe it's their study style and everything, but I have 3 legal pads of just scribbled notes from our Zoom meetings and everything, and that's how I learn. Everybody has their own learning, style and everything like that. But it's again, I mean, just the ability to build a community, the amount of people that Corey reached out to that recently passed the test, that I reached out to Steph as well, just to try to get tips and tricks on how to attack it. Like we had strategy sessions on like, we have 8 hours to take the test. If you need to get up every hour, stretch your legs, go get a drink, that might be the best strategy. And like Corey, I think you got up like 6 or 7 times. I got up twice, just to stretch legs or whatever.
Yep.
And so like we really went into this trying to be as prepared as possible. And it was because we were able to reach out to other people around the country and be like, hey, give us your tips. How'd you pass it? I don't know how anybody does it on their own.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, like, Denny, when things come out, like on LinkedIn and stuff like that, they post. Usually you'll see like a big group of people get passed when the review course happens. And then there's an online review course in January as well. That's a little bit smaller of a group because it's over Zoom. It's like you're staring at a screen for 40 hours, basically intensive throughout the week. And then there's 2 other proctored tests, and proctored tests are basically like independent study. So there's one in May, and then there's one in August. So it'll be interesting to see the trend, because I know for sure that there was 7 people that passed this past time in May. There was 6 of us from New Jersey, and then one person from Massachusetts. But normally when they do the review course, it's like 30 or 40 people pass. So it's a pretty big difference.
Even something, Denny, about like just studying again as like a grown-up person. I mean, like the last really big test I took was maybe for my CMP, or even like a college exam. So like what worked for me in my 20s definitely doesn't work for me in my 40s, when you have life and decision fatigue, and everything else that it like comes along the way. So for me, I really do think that part of the reason why I was able to retain it is because the group made it really fun. Like I remembered this part about accounting because James said something clever, or Corey made a joke about this, so different things just stuck different because, it like made me laugh, or, or something that, which is the other reason why I think that review course is probably successful, because I'm hopeful that they have some fun along the way.
And there were clearly no jokes about torts. So
there might have been a few. We probably just don't remember.
Yeah,
them
there were plenty.
Oh man.
So when it comes to now having your CCM, and I would assume every club is different, every situation's different, but when you look at similar industries, you have MBAs, PhDs, and then with those there comes compensation plan differences, and there's all these different factors. Is it the same for you all? Is every club different? Do you kind of have to fight your own battle? Like, do you have to come into it with like a game plan? Do your club support you? You know, what was that sort of like? I know that was sort of like a broader question, but
Yeah.
I think you can kind of, you know, chat on that for a few minutes each.
Yeah. So I want to touch on the support side of things. So I've worked at clubs that, like I said, they had no involvement in CMA. They didn't care about the CCM, all that stuff. But then that completely changed when I came to Spring Lake. Um, Basically, my boss said, "Hey, you're going to start doing BMIs." I'm like, "Okay, cool." He's like, "There's scholarships out there." So New Jersey offers BMI reimbursement scholarship. So basically, it covers the tuition cost, and you're talking like $2,000 every single time you sit for one of the BMIs, and it covers that. So each one of us were getting these reimbursement costs, which was great. So I was doing that, and I mean, it took me 2 years from start to finish for everything to be done because I was kind of on a fast track real quick to get it done. And another question I asked, like, to everyone after the test, I was like, "Am I the only hospitality student here?" And I was the only hospitality student out of our entire study group. So I've been on the track for CCM since I was in college. And it's just interesting seeing everyone's background and where they've come from because mine is so different from everyone else's, and everyone else's is so different from mine. So the support from the clubs and the New Jersey Club Foundation is immense, kind of throughout New Jersey. I mean, James and Steph, you guys can talk about that too, but everyone I've talked to in the group, they get basically full support for this CCM process. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's I wouldn't have started the process without my GMs being like, hey, you know, they got me involved in the chapter by going to chapter educations and then just going out there and chatting with people. They were like, oh, you should do these. And then seeing my GM go through the BMI process as well. She got her CCM a couple years ago. So that kind of like instilled the, oh, you know what, that's attainable. I got to go chase it. I can go do it. And my GM, my club board, they are, you know, the big cheerleaders. They were very proud of the fact that, you know, myself and the group as a whole passed the CCM. You know, and it's, they all come up to, they're like, okay, congratulations, you got your CCM. You're not going anywhere, right? You know, and I'm like, I don't have any plans to, you know, but I think to what Steph said earlier, by having this designation, it does allow you to advocate for yourself a little bit more and say, you know what, I deserve that, or I'm one of, you know, the top professionals in this field that can do this. You know, and so I think it's been huge. I mean, my board, my membership here is amazing. They're so supportive of everything we do. And now paying that forward, like Corey said, I have 2 people currently attending BMIs doing it. I'm signing more people up to be a part of the CMAA because they saw the success of this group. And they saw like, oh, if that knucklehead James can do it, then I can. And so they're like, let's get us signed up. Let's go chase this down and try to recreate what James and his group had. And that's really rewarding. That's actually been like the best thing, seeing my staff talk about it and be like, oh, can I join? Can I go to this education or whatever? So it's been great.
that's kind of what we wanted to instill, like, again, pay it forward is like, we really want that next, whoever's below us, or not below us, but younger than us, they're able to take that next step. And I know, I mean, at Bayhead alone, they already have 3 CCMs. They have 2 in the process, so they're going to have like 5 here in a second. And over at Spring Lake, like, we're getting people involved, and that's the biggest thing. Is like, we really I want to push these kids a little bit. And again, a lot of them don't come from hospitality backgrounds or understand the industry, and then all of a sudden they get involved, and they're like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And then they're like, whoa, you can travel and go see these things. I'm like, yeah, you can do all this stuff. And then you can form relationships, and then you can get your CCM. And then one day you can hopefully become a general manager and kind of go from there. Everyone's like starting to realize that, which is really cool. And there's a lot of young motivation to push the industry, and that's kind of been a focus for CMA, definitely.
Danny, my path looks a little bit different just in terms of support. Support from my guys was like, okay, we'll give you the time off to go. Like you figure it out after that. But once you get a taste of one, at least for me, it made me realize like, okay, I got to figure this out and how I can go again. Which is how like the scholarship money, the community of people, like, I definitely borrowed the support that James and Corey were feeling from their, like clubs, I think, in order to keep it going. But I do find really exciting, no matter what level of support someone's in, when you see someone chasing down a goal, it's exciting and people start to notice. Right. So it makes everyone work with a little bit more focused. It makes everyone a little bit more excited. It gets more people on board. So then it can't almost be ignored after that. Like, oh my God, Steph's done like 4 BMIs. Now she's at conference. Now she's sitting for the test. And it made, my like uppers in my current club be like, wow, like you're actually going to sit? Okay. And then they were just kind of waiting and like, whoa, baby, like you actually passed. And I'm like, yeah, I killed it. Right. Like I like before, but it definitely got some attention, got people thinking. And I think sometimes you need that push to kind of shake things up and say like, okay, well, like we, have to show her the pathway of what's next here professionally. Right. Because now like we know that she's really trying to, prepare and market herself to, go after like an opportunity that really then would like excite you professionally, but
So
also hopefully you've done enough to inspire those around you, right? That they'll start, the path that Corey and James have mentioned.
so you've seen the vibe change in your excuse me, in your little community of people there.
Oh my God, beyond.
Oh,
I was
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
like,
I
whoa,
think,
that's like a
That's
really
so
big
cool.
deal, right? I'm like, yeah,
yeah, I
so
think for a lot of us, it's like that. It's the vibe change is definitely has changed, which is great.
mhm.
I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's nice to see that, the going after the goal, achieving it, that there is almost like an instant then, shift that starts to happen too. It really has made the whole process, I mean, really exciting because now I'm like, all right, guys, like what's next? And I think it's so cool when you're able to really be genuinely so happy, like for a colleague who, like when Corey got his promotion, I mean, I felt like it was my promotion. I was so
Yeah.
excited for him. And I just think that that's a real rarity in any industry, especially in an industry that could feel like competitive in some regards. A pure joy for someone else's success is just huge.
Thanks, Steph.
So to start wrapping it up, you are chatting with somebody who is just thinking about starting getting their CCM. So you have 2 minutes. You're in the elevator. You see this person
Oh,
again.
no.
This time it was going up. Now you're going down. They happened to get in the same elevator. It was wild. They creeped. They followed you to your floor. You now have 2 minutes to go down. They're like, hey, this sounds good. What advice are you giving them?
Corey, you
Study.
got 2 minutes. Go.
Study and enjoy the ride. I mean, it's again, it all comes back to form the relationships and take in every moment where, first off, you get to travel to 4 different cities, 5 if you include conference. You get to explore food and beverage. You get to explore everything within these 5 cities, let's say, and then sit down and form that relationship with fellow club managers and just get them talking about it. And then put your head in a book and study. That's all I got to say. Start reading PowerPoints and start doing note cards. And yeah, I mean, it's an intense process, but it's rewarding at the end of the day. And especially seeing more people go after it and them starting to ask us questions is like even more rewarding because we want to make sure that they're educated and they feel good to go too. So,
Steph?
I was hoping you'd take over, James. I mean, I would just say, buckle up. You're going to be in for the professional ride of your life. And here is my card. I'm here to cheer you on, support you, and help you
Love
every
it.
step of the way, is most likely what I would do. Or if I really like the elevator ride, I'd just text them immediately so that they can contact me. But I really do think that connection is key. And, I think that I don't believe that you meet anyone by accident, right? So if I'm in the elevator with this person and in whatever scenario of life that is, I will always take their hand and help them every step of the way. So I just think that that's something that's also really special about our industry, and about this like opportunity to kind of pay it forward. So they'd be stuck with a study buddy whether they wanted to or not.
Best study buddy ever.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say absolutely pursue it, chase it. The test is daunting. That's at the end. Don't worry about that right now. Enjoy each individual BMI. There's so much information, and the BMIs are great. But what you really gain out of those is the relationships and ideas. You get talking about so many different things, and then you realize, oh wait, my club's not any different than any other club. We're all dealing with the same stuff, and we all are trying to come up with the next great idea. That's what you go to these BMIs for. You learn, make these relationships, steal ideas, because stealing ideas is great, and then buckle down, take the test, help somebody else along the way too. If you feel like you're in a good spot, there might be somebody else struggling. Help them study. Reach out to any of us at any time, and we're always happy to help and give any guidance that's possible.
Oh yeah.
You guys are awesome. This was so much better than I thought it was going to be. All right. I didn't know what to expect. No, that's so fun. So,
especially Jersey, calling up Jersey, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Years ago, I bought the book.
Oh,
I didn't want to see that book again.
This is brutal.
So Denny, you're going for your CCM? Keep reading.
Certified club magician. No. So I do have a banner made. It's somewhere in the back of a clock. It's somewhere, but I did a CM. I think it was the Philly show. This was 10 plus years ago. So I was 24, 25. So I was I started doing some clubs, and I was getting my little ends, and I was so I made a banner. It said Denny Corby CCM with a big asterisk underneath. There was certified club magician, and everybody thought. And there was this one old dude who was we work hard. I'm but I get it. I get it. It was fun, but I changed my hair and everything, so it's not useful. But then also I didn't want to put it in my profile and then kind of be Michael Crandell, CNG, how he has certified, and so I didn't want to start going down that route. No, didn't want to get blacklisted from the CMAA. You know what I mean? I want to.
I think you should try to do it at the conference that's upcoming. We'll support it fully.
I will be in the front row cheering you
Yep. Come on, guys, this is funny.
Live a little. Come on.
Yeah, really.
Lighten up.
I'm trying to work here. I don't know why I went to Rodney Dangerfield, but
no respect.
out every now and then. You can't help it.
Yeah. No, I mean everybody should find their group. Whether you are looking for it or not, there is a group out there for you to help you in whatever you need, whether it's somebody in your state. I was lucky enough to have, wonderful camaraderie with the New Jersey state chapter and the members in it that were chasing this. But we also had a gentleman from Kansas join us in our study group. We, build relationships with people around the country. And that's huge, build that network, get those relationships going and lean on those relationships.
Oh, and so for the study groups, you would just kind of say, hey, we're going to do this day, whoever can make it, show up. And this is what we're going to be doing. Or did you have to did you try to have it more strict and regimented, or is that maybe more towards the end when
as we got closer?
More in the beginning when it was more hey, we're going to be hanging out around this time. It's,
So we basically, we were okay, read the book. Let's get through the book. All of us read the book. Some read it twice, James. And we then set up a schedule And we're like, okay, each week, Monday or Tuesday, whatever day usually work best, we're going to get on at like 8:30 at night, and we're just going to go. And we're just going to keep going until we feel good. And I mean, there were nights that we were on calls until 2 a.m. And we would just go and then wake up the next day, go to work or do whatever. And then as each week progressed, we finished those chapters off. And then we kind of made mental notes of like, hey, we have to go back to this chapter. Or, hey, we need to spend an extra week in this chapter. Or, hey, we talked about leadership week 1 and it's week 10. We need to go back to leadership because we haven't talked about leadership in 10 weeks. So we got through that whole thing, and we got a really detailed, organized list kind of towards the end of it, too, of like, okay, Monday through Friday. I mean, it was almost Monday through Sunday. Yeah, it was almost every day, 2 to 4 to 5 hours of like, okay, we're going through leadership. Okay, we're going through sports and rec. Then we're going to facilities. And we're just going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling. And everyone got on. That's the biggest thing. We all had our, what word am I trying to think of? Challenges, let's just say, to get on. But we made it work. Like James said, we had a gentleman from Kansas that was on too with us. And we're like, let's just make it happen. I mean, they were having tornadoes down there. So, I mean, there were dogs barking in the background.
In the
background. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can leave that on there. I almost said that. I mean, it was everything going on. I think I might have had my kids crying one time. Who knows?
Kids running by,
but
in the midst of everything. And
kids going by, we're like saying hi. There's like the significant others walking by being like, what's going on? Good to see you. But yeah, no, we put in the time, and I give kudos to everyone part of that group because we sacrificed a lot of hours. I don't want to calculate how many hours, but we sacrificed a ton of hours, and we got through, and it got put on hold, and hopefully our lives are pieced back together after those 5 months, but we'll see.
Oh, for sure. Danny, what Corey's failing to mention too is he has about 10,000 note cards that he would just quiz us with consistently every single night.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Even on the last, no, I still got them. Even though on the last day, right before the test, we came to Spring Lake and we sat in the boardroom and we studied. We put it up on the monitor. We had our guy from Kansas zoom in, Steph zoomed in, and we all just came down here. We got a new setting and just kind of reset and just went through thousands of note cards. It was great.
Put down the temperature to like 62.
Make it real uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What's the answer? I don't know. Thank you guys so much for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for answering my questions and the answers for everybody else. And appreciate you. Congrats on everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, Denny.
Thanks, Denny. Appreciate it.
Hope you all enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you like, share, subscribe, share it with a friend. If you haven't done so already, sign up for our newsletter. Head on over to privateclubradio.com. That's this episode. Until next time, catch y'all on the flippity flip.